Leron, I will not countenance this plan.
Hear me, Goddess Ashera. Yune's imprisonment within the medallion has begun to change you. Order and chaos. You are one being, comprising both parts. The one must naturally affect the other.
Even so, I will not return Yune to this body. She is unstable, and I must be perfect in order to protect this world. It is as I have said. Yune must be destroyed.
Ashera, you mustn't. You cannot survive without your opposite. Please, you must not do this. Your world still needs you.
Leron, you have ever been a wise and kind-hearted child. In deference to you, I will place my faith in your kind one last time. For the next 1,000 years, I shall sleep as well. When I wake again, I hope it is to a world of peace and order, where all prosper as equals. If I do, then I will know that you have advised me well. I will reward your counsel. I will also allow Yune to return to me. I will once again be the goddess of creation, whole and complete. Ashera, the dawn goddess, the name your ancestors gave me so long ago. I should like to hear it again. However, during this 1,000 years, if the chaos of war should arise and awaken Yune from her slumber in the medallion, I will know that you have strayed from your path, and I will punish your failure as I would reward your success. And then you will know my judgment. You will pay for your sins, each of you to the last.
In the names of our people, we vow to keep this covenant. There will be no great war between Lagos and Bjork for 1,000 years. So pledge Altina of the Bjork, Degensia of the Dragon Tribes, Soren of the Beast Tribes, and I, Leron of the Bird Tribes.
If you believe during this 1,000 years that you have created a world that has outgrown the atrocities of war, or if you feel the world has fallen beyond hope of redemption, you may sing the Galder of release and awaken us both. Your heirs will possess that ability as well. Sing to awaken us, and tell us your tale. Tell us of the world your two kinds have built in our absence. We will listen, and we will judge fairly and impartially. This is our covenant with you.
It was already made pretty clear earlier, but now we finally know. Yune and Ashera used to be the same goddess. They're both halves of one being. And now, we're confronting that other half. We heard this in an earlier flashback, but this is actually Ashera's theme, and I just want to say I really, really like this song. It's just so strange and alien sounding, which I feel really fits. Yep, that doesn't matter, because there was still a massive, horrible, continent-spanning war going on at the time that she was woken up. All the Galta just did was make it so that she didn't immediately destroy the world. But yeah, there is actually something she doesn't know. And yeah, this outright confirms the reason why Amy survived petrification was because she was branded. This is actually kind of interesting. I don't think I've really seen a setting where the gods did not actually create sentient beings. Evolution just kind of happened on its own. Among the non-sentient beings they created. And yeah, she's actually showing Micaiah's brand here if you look closely. I do wonder if, again, like, at the time, there was no real consideration of the timeline or anything, but if the Branded did end up going on to become kind of the same thing as the Crusader blood in genealogy. However, you're not exactly going to convince the Goddess of Order to spare people if you're telling her about how wonderful change is. There's a little bit of an extra line here in the extended script. Ashera just says, the process of evolution requires countless sacrifices, which is kind of interesting, I guess. Also, Yune's speech on Branded is a bit longer, but all it does is just reiterate information about Branded that we already know. Ashera's kind of lost her mind with her isolation from her other half. Now, the other thing that I was talking about is that while Yune had the company of people like Eleanor and Mist while she slept, the only person Ashera had for company was a nihilist who had lost all faith in humanity. I feel like Leran's despair definitely rubbed off on her, even if she doesn't realize it. Do I detect a hint of fear in that voice? I don't think you counted on us getting blessed. Now, Ike's speech to Ashera is a bit longer in the extended script, and it contains a line that's very, very important that I'm actually really annoyed that got cut. So in other words, we aren't flawless. Ashera, stop acting like something's wrong. Now, this right here, here is where the line from Ike comes in. In the extended script, Ike adds something here that I feel is really poignant, and why is this line not in this version of the script? So, and even more annoying about this line being cut is that Ike actually does reference it in Heroes. So, I'm going to quote the Heroes version of the line. People aren't perfect, we all make mistakes, but we also love our family and our friends. We should never forget that we all have that same capacity for love. So yeah, that line is actually referencing this scene, but only in the extended script. Yeah, that's the problem with her being a Puora. You can't exactly convince her to go back on anything she's done. You know what? I'm gonna make a controversial statement here. As much as everyone loves that one Frederick critical line in Awakening, I think Ike just one-upped him here. Ashera actually has a much longer line in the extended script. She basically goes on a big rant about how, I am a god, you cannot defeat me, blah 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 blah. That is so cool, I love that. So, for the last time, we have battle preparations. So I'm going to start this out by doing some bonus experience awarding. Let's see. Okay, let's just cap you off. Don't worry, I will get to how this chapter works, but this is the very end. This is the last time we'll be seeing these characters and these stats, so there's no reason not to use all our bonus experience here. You know what? Edward was capped out. May as well cap out Mia. And yeah, you've maxed out everything except magic. Okay, who else? Wonder if this will cap your defense. Not quite. Oh, you're so close to having everything capped. I'm kind of tempted to do that just so I have another character with everything glowing green, but it's not really all that necessary. Aaron, I think, has already capped most of his relevant stats, although +1 resistance might help. Gonna give Peleus a level here. That's gonna cost a lot of bonus experience to level him up again. I would really like you to have cap magic, but doesn't seem like I can do that. Actually, may as well level up Leanne. Please gain a point of defense and or resistance. Oh. Yeah, the trickiest part of this chapter is going to be protecting Leanne. Kind of wish I had saved a Seraph Road for her, because Ashera has some AoE physical attacks that are incredibly dangerous to Leanne, even if she's standing on cover. Now, who else can level up here? I mean, Soren can, but I doubt it will actually make much of a difference. Nasala can. Even though any additional points of speed he gains at this point are basically overkill. He already is guaranteed to double everything on this map. Okay, yeah, Jill's fully capped out. I mean, I really want Rolf to have 40 skill, but I'm also extremely tempted to have you cap everything. Oh, you're really close. I don't think your HP will end up capped, actually. And I don't have enough bonus experience to level you up again. But, hey, Nephany almost capped everything, so, yeah. At least I got to show one person with capped everything. Yeah, in certain playthroughs, I actually have, like, when I haven't been needing to train this many characters in other parties and use my bonus experience for other things, like Leanne, I've had everyone with capped everything by this chapter. I think he might be the only person that I can afford to level up at this point. Yeah, so why not? Aaron for Endgame and all that. One extra point of resistance might help you out. Come on, please gain defense and resistance. Actually, those 2 extra points of HP might be useful. So at least I've got that going for me. Because Leanne will be participating in this fight, because guess what? I mean, I wouldn't be showing this footage otherwise. Yep, they unlock their A support. +3 attack on Nasal is going to help here too. And these two got a B support, somehow. Oh, and these two can reach an A, nice. Plus 15 hit's actually not a bad bonus in this chapter because the enemies we'll be fighting have a crazy amount of evasion for some reason. Those bonuses are really not going to be doing me that much good. Who can you support? I kind of wish you could support Nicaea, but doesn't seem like you got there quickly enough. Well, I mean, Elincia has no support partner, so might as well. Don't worry, I'll get to info later. Info is very important, but, yeah, I'll be showing that in a bit. Okay, so skills. Skills are really important in this chapter. In fact, before I manage skills, let's just quickly talk about how this is going to work. First things first, all the terrain types from earlier, like cover, wardwood, heal cover, those kind of things, they're all here. They look different than how they used to. So be sure you check the terrain info here. For example, cover is now dark green rather than light green. So we're still fighting some spirits, and they can still teleport everywhere, but these spirits have a new trick. They can teleport adjacent to one of Ashera's auras and heal it. And you kind of want them to be doing that, because it keeps them away from your more vulnerable characters. Other good news though is, just like before, these spirits will not attack Herons, and they won't attack Micaiah either. Weirdly enough, Ashera herself is also coded to not attack Micaiah, but that doesn't really matter because Ashera's attacks mainly consist of AoEs. So, speaking of Ashera, here she is. Now, I'll cover the implications of her actual stats later because we won't actually be needing to deal with them just yet. She has this attack, Judge. This takes myriad forms, as it says here, and I'll be describing that later. Weird bit of trivia here is that in the American version her class name is different, it's Order Incarnate. But here, in the European version, she goes by her Japanese class name, Goddess of Order. Also, race ? Affinity Heaven, everything SS ranked. Dark is kind of interesting. You might think it's ironic that Ashera has affinity towards Dark, but there are actually unused Dark variants of her attacks, which is kind of interesting. And of course she has Mantle, but no other skills. Oh, and also one really cool thing is that, fitting for the Goddess of Order, Ashera's biorhythm is completely stagnant and never changes. She is never in positive biorhythm, she is never in negative biorhythm. I think that's a really cool touch. But, before we get to Ashera, we have to destroy all 8 of these 90 HP auras. These act as her shield, and you might notice they have less speed than Ashera herself. Actually, weirdly enough, they don't. Because Ashera herself is weighed down by her weapon. It's kind of bizarre. For someone who claims to be perfect, her strength is terrible, so this actually weighs her down and she has less speed than it's displayed, so these things are actually faster. But anyway, you need 29 speed or more to be able to double these things. They also have decent defense and resistance, and also remember, they are alternating between being on wardwood and cover, so bear that in mind. Now, these auras can't actually attack you, but they do have a unique skill. In addition to Mantle, which means they are in fact healing for 40 HP every turn, they also have the Aurora skill. This is basically counter, but always activates. So any damage they take, half of it is reflected back at the attacker. However, Aurora is a skill, and thus it's negated by Nihil and Parity. That's why these two skills are so important in this chapter. So, for that reason... Now, at this point in the game, activation rate-based skills are pretty much useless because, well, I mean, like, combat-related activation skills like Cancel and Adept, these are pointless because everything meaningful that you'll be fighting here, by which I mean not the spirits, has Nihil. So, yeah, we can safely take all of those off now. In fact, Nasala's Vantage is going to be useless. Okay, so I've now removed all meaningless skills. Now let's talk about the meaningful skills here. Like I said, Nihil is very useful. If you've been removing the Nihils from, if you remove the Nihils from Nolan, Khalil, and Nicaea, you should have 4 of them by now, including the one that Ike gets on promotion. So, now is the time to distribute these skills. I like to give these to my hardest hitters, but also I like to give these to the characters who normally can't double the auras, but can double them with the aid of Nicaea's white pool. because parity will negate white pool. So I like to give parity to the characters who can double the auras without needing white pool. And that means Nisala and Trueblades. Unfortunately, parity is going to negate your Leanne support bonus though, which is a boost to might. And it's also going to negate Blood Tide, which is pretty effective on Nisala. See, it's a dilemma. It's really a dilemma. But I do have 4 Niles, so I really don't need to be stingy with these. Because in this case, I'm actually going to go ahead and remove that, and I'm going to go ahead and give Jill a Nile. Well, have to remove pass. A Nile because she does double the Auroras with Nisia's White Pool in effect. So you're getting a Nile. Now, Aaron, with White Pool, you have 38 speed. I don't think that's actually enough to double. It's not quite enough to double, yeah. So, unfortunately, I was going to go full meme and give Aaron the Wishblade and have him fight here, but Nephany actually can double the auras with the aid of White Pool, so she's going to be getting the Nile here. I guess Rolf could technically make use of Nile as well. Rolf can also double with the aid of White Pool, though. And Rolf hits harder. And yeah, the main reason why I want to give Nile to the people who hit harder is they're most at risk of taking the damage from the auras. Everyone else, it's usually fine, because... Yeah, let's actually just give... Okay, who wants parity? Edward's going to take parity. I only have 2 of these. So Edward's got 1 parity, and I think someone else has the other parity. Yeah, Aaron currently has the other parity. I might as well have Nia take that. Because again, they can double the auras without any aid of skills. As for other skills, okay then. Nisala, you're actually gonna fulfill that role that you did in the last chapter without me really intending you to. Provoke. So, if you're deploying Gareth to this chapter, which I highly recommend, you want to put Provoke on a character who does not have 1 to 2 range, because in that case, the spirits will generally go for them and not, Gareth. Now, are there any skills that I can give Gareth here? I mean, he doesn't really have much of a rate of activating Pavis, but, well, he's got a ton of capacity, and I might as well give this to someone. Savior, I guess? Not Provoke. Oh, and Nullify. Even though I don't think the Thunder Spirits actually have effectiveness bonus against dragons. And Pass might help you get where you're needed. I wish I could give this to Leanne, but I mean, the chances of her activating it are almost nothing. Pavis is only helpful against the spirits, but if you have anyone who might be in danger from being hit by spirits, Pavis is not a bad idea for them. I think for the time being, we're actually fine on skills. I think I'm okay on items as well. There's really not much else I'll need, except for one thing. I'm going to actually have Micaiah trade the Fortify Staff over to her, because Elincia can actually do some decent damage to some things, and also she doesn't really need Physic. And the Shine Barrier is going to be pointless here. Bought that, but never used it. But yeah, Micaiah is not really going to be doing a lot of fighting in this chapter. She'll be spending most of her time healing, so she's going to take a Fortify. Because Elincia can at least do her job picking off some spirits. You have a Laguz Gem, you have a Laguz Gem. I mean, the thing about dragons is their transform gauge depletes so slowly that a Laguz Stone should be enough to last Gareth the entire chapter. So that's fine. Oh, by the way, Satniki has the Rudolph Gem now, which gives plus 10 defense, putting her defense up from wet tissue paper to tissue paper. Her defense is still pretty awful, but as long as she's on a cover tile, she's usually safe from Ashera's AoE physical attacks. So, On that note, let me talk about how Ashera works attack-wise. Don't worry, we will be starting this chapter soon, and don't worry, I haven't forgotten a certain conversation, but I'll be going over this first. So, fittingly for a goddess of pure order, Ashera follows a defined, predetermined pattern in what she does. Turn 1 is an AoE physical attack. Hide yo Heron, hide yo Micaiah, is what I like to call this. So they need to be standing on cover tiles for this attack, and preferably need to be as far away from Ashera as possible, because like all AoEs, its damage is reduced the further away you are from her. Turn 2 is a single target magical snipe, so for this I like to have Gareth hide on a Wardwood tile. Turn 3 is an AoE magical attack, so anyone with low resistance should go on Wardwood. Turn 4 is a single target physical snipe, though at this point I've usually won this battle, so I don't really need to worry about much else from here on. Turn 5, she has an AoE silence attack that hits everyone, which can be bad since it can shut off your healing. You just better hope that Micaiah and your other healers, although they can just equip restore staves to avoid getting affected by it. Now, I know that this sounds cocky, but I'm pretty confident this battle's not going to take that long, so I'm not going to give anyone restore staves. Turns 6 to 9 are the same as turns 1 to 4, and turn 10 is otherwise known as, if you've taken this long, Ashera basically just finishes you off because you suck. Turn 10 is an AoE stun attack. When you're stunned, you are hit 100% of the time, and the spirits will just go around slaughtering everyone when that happens. So, basically, if you've reached turn 10, turn 11 and onwards, she just repeats the cycle from turn 1. But when you've reached turn 10, that's about the point where the game basically just says, if you've taken this long, yeah, you really don't deserve to win this fight. I've never actually seen her AoE stun attack, but if you see it, you've pretty much already lost. And I should just mention that with the right setup, which generally requires a ton of Laguz Royals, it's possible to one-turn this. I've actually seen some really cool methods of one-turning Ashera that involve triangle attacks too, which is pretty awesome. Because triangle attacks do work. But anyway, before we begin the fight, there's one last thing we need to do. This is one of the most elusive base conversations in the game. In order to unlock this, you need to have transferred a file where Ike and Soren had an A support, and got them to an A support in this game, and unlocked Ike's memory scene. But with all the criteria fulfilled, we can finally get 90% of Soren's backstory. Now yeah, this calls back all the way to their A support in Path of Radiance. And now I've realized the reason why Ike forgot is because it was a side effect of Sephiran erasing his memories of, Grail killing Elena. So we had little bits of this in Ike and Soren's A in the previous game, but now we're going to get the full story. There's a reason why Soren at that age felt like everyone was just trying to manipulate him. That's how the branded were treated among Lagoos. It's hard to imagine what's worse, being actually abused or being treated like you don't even exist. I'm actually feeling kind of... This is actually getting to me. I forgot how sad Soren's backstory was. And this isn't even the full story. There's one more thing that isn't revealed in this conversation, but don't worry, it will be revealed very soon, that makes this all even worse. And yes, again, branded being mistaken for spirit charmers. This we did find out from Soren's support conversations in the last game. So yeah, that thing about once I learned to speak like other people, Soren was completely non-verbal up until that point. No one had even bothered to raise him at all. And that's all thanks to Sephiran. Ike was the first person to ever show Soren kindness. Now we see why Soren is so loyal to him. And this is the first time Soren's actually showing emotion like this. Soren does have people who treat him nicely now. So with that, we have about 90% of the pieces of the puzzle of Soren's backstory, but there's one final thing that we still need to know. And I fulfilled the conditions to unlock that, thankfully, so we'll be seeing that during the epilogue. And it's literally the last few lines before the credits. I can't... See, the only thing about Soren is that there's so much about him that I want to talk about, but I can't because the very biggest thing about him is not revealed until the last few lines before the credits. But anyway... okay then. Also, let me just do my choose units. No Kurth Naga, we are bringing Gareth though. And there's a few ways you can go about using Gareth and Ina here. You can either have one go on each side and just go for +5 strength on either side, because I kind of like to split up and go for a pincer attack on Ashera here. Or, you can have both of them go towards the middle and try and stack their boosts. Which is a pretty useful thing to do, especially if you have some flyers who can, for example, yeah, I might want to actually try and show that. So, with that, I think we're ready. Today, we slay a god and take back our... Oh wait, wrong game. But this is something new. It seems like you made your choice after all, and your name tag's gone back to your true name now. I just like to point out, this song is amazing, by the way. I love this song so much. And yeah, I already explained this. But we have one final bio for this playthrough. The second of the 2 second playthrough exclusive characters, and some might say the real reward for doing a second playthrough. Leron's stats are, fitting for his role in the story, pretty impressive. They're identical to his boss stats, except that he lost 2 points of defense, but gained 4 points of speed, which I think is a very good trade-off. Also, weirdly, Sephiran had bond supports with Sanaki and Zelgius, but he loses them as Leron for some reason. He also starts out with SS ranks in Light, Dark, which makes him the only other dark magic user besides Peleus, and Stars. He also still has Mantle, so he recovers 40 HP per turn, and the attacks of Spirit and Ashera don't affect him because they're not blessed by Yune, which weirdly enough doesn't actually help him anyway because both those enemies are coded not to attack him. He does still take damage from Ashera's area attacks though, so watch out for that. Leron does have one major weakness though. For some reason, when he decided to come with us to fight Ashera, he forgot to bring his tome. All he has is the Ashera staff, which fully heals all units on the map like it did in Path of Radiance, but you can't really fight Ashera with that. As a result, while Leron is very powerful against the auras, he doubles them and does a lot of damage. If you want him to actually fight things, someone else needs to give him their blessed tome. I personally like having Micaiah give him Rex Aura because he has just as much magic as she does but far higher speed, so he makes better use of it. If you've brought Peleus to Endgame, you can also be a jerk and have him give Balberath to Sephiran, who will probably use it better than he can, sadly. Or if you somehow have other blessed light or dark tomes, you can give those to him. Overall, Leron really helps in this fight, provided that you give him a weapon, and the staff he comes with is also great for healing off damage from Ashera's area attacks. Remember that anyone with an SS rank in staves can use it, not just him, so feel free to trade it away if you need to use it twice in one turn. Oh man, I love this song so much. I'm just gonna let it play for a minute. And as long as Gareth was on Wardwood and I wasn't an idiot and didn't put him on Wardwood... Ina? Okay. Please don't die, Ina. Please don't double Ina. Holy... what?! Oh, come on! Ina? Ina? Really? Ina? Oh, I was doing so well. At least I get to show this. Ina's defeat quote in Endgame is actually very unique. It implies something. Yeah, Leanne absolutely must be on a cover tile, and she should be as far away from Ashera as possible, too. Because AoEs, once again, don't discriminate. Okay, moment of truth is Leanne, though. Sigh. One down, 7 to go. Okay, at risk of interrupting this amazing song, Leanne needs to go all the way back here. She needs to be as far away from Ashera as possible and standing on cover. It's the only way she'll survive the first turn. Okay. I didn't use parity there because that would have got rid of Blood Tide. And yeah, that's the first full loop of the song. I love how long this song goes on for without looping. It is definitely one of my favorite final battle songs in the series. I really like the one from Sacred Stones, and I like, just there's much more places you can go. This probably won't hit, but if it does, it's another aura down. Yeah, one good thing is that getting rid of the auras... Oh, it actually did hit. Getting rid of the auroras opens up their spaces for more characters to stand in, so it gives you more opportunities to attack the other auras. And now, surprisingly enough, Micaiah is going to hopefully finish off this aura. One thing I haven't mentioned yet is that the final blow on an aura does not trigger their aurora skill. Please don't miss, Micaiah. Thank you. So yeah, Micaiah doesn't take damage from that, even though she doesn't have Nile or Parity, because... yeah. Final blow does not trigger the skill. And that had better be cover. Yes, it is good. So Micaiah's probably safe there. Okay, now somebody can stand there. I would really like for Nephany to stand there, but it seems like she can't. However, I can do this. So currently we've got 3 down. I think this plus Nia should be able to bring this one down. A rare case where you actually don't want to use parity. Because again, this is a final blow, so it won't trigger the Aurora skill. Four down, we're halfway there. Yeah, counting all of the Auroras, Ashera effectively has 840 HP. Which is a lot to eat through, but with Lagoo's Royals it can be done relatively quickly. I wish Nephany got to do more this turn though. She just was in just the wrong position. I mean, it's definitely possible to do this in one turn, but it is easier if you have all the Lagoo's Royals. Okay, Micaiah's over there. Like I said, the main reason why I brought Sanaki is so that Leron can... You know what? I'm going to do something that seems kind of silly, but I have a plan here. That's for next turn. I'm trying to avert something that happened on my first run of this chapter. You can probably already guess what it is. But yeah, wherever Sanaki goes, she must stand on cover. And, ironically, we're using Ashera's own staff against her. I think in the Japanese version, though, it's just called Goddess Staff, which means its appearance in Awakening makes more sense. Because I always thought it was weird that a weapon specifically tied to Ashera showed up in Awakening. Huh, that's interesting. Ina and Nasir combined mean... However, you do not have, you don't have protection from the Aurora skill, though. So you will be taking 10 damage times 4, and... Oh, that's unfortunate. If only I'd known that sooner, I would have done that before I'd moved Leron, because then I could have done that, but as it stands, I can't. Because then she'll die to the AoE attack. That is incredibly unfortunate. Okay, yeah, wherever Sanaki goes, she must stay on cover, but... Oh, I wish I... Ugh. Well, Lincia can at least kill off a spirit. Okay, here it is. Wait, no, not yet. You said the spirit's going to go for Nasala. If any of the auras are damaged, the spirits will try and heal them. They have a 1 to 2 range healing spell, and I used to think they used a variant of Sacrifice, but they don't. It doesn't actually cost any of the spirit's HP to heal an aura. So if you're worried about Gareth, sometimes it's nice to damage a few of the auras, but not destroy them, so that the spirits... Because the spirits will prioritize healing auras above attacking you. In pretty much all circumstances. Anyway, I find this line really cool, actually. It's terrifying, but it fits. Okay, Ashera is about to unleash Micaiah's Bane. AoE physical attack. This thing hurts quite a lot if you're standing very close to her. So your low defense characters should be on cover for this. Yeah, that definitely would have killed Alicia if she'd gone for that. Now, hopefully Leanne should be okay. Because it does get weaker the further away, and lol, 2 damage on Gareth. Guess his, like, this is the one time in the whole game that his massive defense and HP, that his massive defense actually makes a difference, so... Nice one, Aaron. And yeah, even though, it's a good thing that she was that far away. Because even though, Leron is weirdly enough on Ashera's pacifism list, he still takes damage from her AoE attacks, as all AoEs are wont to do. Okay, so now what I'm going to do... So much heal cover. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually do this. So she'll be taking 10 from each of these. This should hopefully not kill her. It'll put her down to 4 HP. Good hit rate, too. Well, that's interesting. The aura attack was saved for after both of her attacks had gone through. Oh, and in case you wanted to have Alincia use Alondite... Oh, she's not an SS, but she can actually SS swords. I still can't believe Alincia can't SS staves. That's just really, really unfortunate. But, okay, I do have a slight plan here. And that slight plan is... Micaiah will once again... I'll need to either... Okay, I'll need to refresh her with Leanne, or... Actually, wait a minute. No. It's probably better off if I have someone else finish off that aura, actually. Either Peleus or maybe even Aaron. That's not bad. Because I need to use both Ashera and or Fortify, and do something that I want to do with Micaiah and Leron. Another one down, only 3 auras remain. Okay, if I leave these two where they are... Let's parody whack this one. This battle is really kind of a puzzle in terms of where you position your characters and your buffers. But this is definitely my favourite final boss in all of Fire Emblem. It can be challenging, like if you have the wrong characters get hit by her physical or magical snipes, but it's, I don't know, I find this chapter really enjoyable, personally. Kind of wish someone who could Kanto was in range of that. Do I destroy that, or do I go for... Let's go for massive damage on this aura. Because remember, I haven't even moved my 3 dragons yet, although Gareth and Ina, I learnt that to my... Really? Double miss at 71, really? But yeah, I learnt to my, in fact, anyway. I learnt to my kind of horror that, Ina is also not safe from Ashera's magical snipe attack. Okay, that thing is on cover, so I kind of do need to go for parity here. It's one of the few Fire Emblem final bosses that I feel actually feels like a real boss fight, using Fire Emblem mechanics. I said before that I don't feel that many boss fights in Fire Emblem have been handled particularly well. That's Wardwood, which means that Gareth going here is probably fine. Though, there's really very little chance that'll hit. Gareth won't actually be able to buff a lot of people from there, though. No, that's not a good place for him to go either. And the other thing that I love about this final boss fight is that everyone gets to contribute. Everyone. In many other Fire Emblem final bosses, and that's a big menu anyway, what I was going to do here is do this with Micaiah. For many other Fire Emblem final boss fights, only characters with legendary weapons really stand a chance of doing damage. But in this one, everyone has to cooperate to take down the auras. It's just really cool the way that everyone gets a chance to shine in the final battle. And that you have to eat through so much HP, you have these buffers. Ashera's attacks are pretty brutal, and you need to be very careful of your positioning. You need to make use of the terrain. Anyway, I shouldn't be talking over this conversation, because it's a good conversation. One of the few times in Fire Emblem a character is actually like, you know what, let's not talk in the middle of a battlefield. And something Micaiah said earlier in this conversation, I'm pretty sure many people have already figured it out by now. Think back to the cutscene at the beginning of this chapter, and something that Micaiah can do. Leron isn't just good with the staff, though. If you trade it to him, and make sure that if you are trading him any weapons, that they're blessed. Because he doesn't actually have the ability to damage Ashera otherwise. Now Micaiah can go for Fortify. Okay, Fortify did not heal herself. I'll need to remember that. Another level up on Micaiah, because why not? And yes, now that Leron is in play, now that he has a weapon, Leron can actually fight the auras, and because his mantle skill has a built-in Nile, he won't actually need to worry about their Aurora skill, which is kind of nice. Here, all 3 of them haven't actually moved yet. Now, ideally, I'd like to get both Jill and Nephany in on this. Thing is, wherever Gareth goes, he must stand on Wardwood. Otherwise, he is definitely 100% dead. No questions asked. He is just completely and utterly dead. Actually, probably should have positioned these better so that Nephany could get a ranged attack in with the speed boost, but oh well. I suppose if I Again, it's all about positioning the dragons. So if Nasir goes there, Gareth goes to this Wardwood. And also remember that Gareth does not have Nile, so if he does do this, I need to heal him. This is probably not going to hit. Also one of the rare times you'll actually see Gareth's battle animations, but I like that really bright red that he is. I thought so. It probably would have screwed me over if that had hit, actually. And yeah, you don't need to worry about dragons untransforming with Lagoon Stones. Their transform gauges are just so massive that it doesn't really matter. Yeah, now this one is on cover, I'll need to remember that. I love this part of the song as well. I love the bit where it just goes silent except for the drums. That part's probably my favorite. Grasping Truth is such a good song. Definitely in my top 3 Fire Emblem final chapter themes. Oh, and I haven't actually used Leanne here either. Interesting. Because Leanne's pretty much safe this turn. In fact, the fact that I haven't used Leanne here changes things. Changes a lot of things, actually. Because depending on how things go, I might even be able to... I mean, I'm not entirely sure. Okay, with your magical buff, you actually can finish this aura off. Though I may need to shove you away so that Nephany can now make use of that speed boost. I don't really want to, like, I could go on tangents about the other final chapter themes in the series and how I feel about them, but I still think Twilight of the Gods is my favorite. But I don't want to take away from this, because this is the final battle of this game, and it really should stand on its own. Gotta remember to heal Micaiah. Oh, I haven't shown... Okay, yeah, I need to make sure to show this conversation, because it's amazing. It's one of the best conversations in the game. Definitely. Okay, yes, do need to essentially shove you out of the way. Which I could do... Why? Wait, why can't I shove you? That's... What? Why can't I shove you? Oh yeah, I can also talk to him. Why can't I shove him? That's really bizarre. Because, I mean, yeah, I can shove you. Is Leron somehow immune to shoving? That's... I've never seen that before. There's no way... I don't even have a shove command. Leron actually appears to be immune to shoving. That's really strange. Maybe he was the boss and they forgot to remove that immunity when he became playable. Oh, that is really bizarre, actually. Anyway, let's just finish off this aura. I'm not going to get greedy. I think I'll leave this last aura alive, and I know we'll be finishing it next turn that way. Although, admittedly, I do have Leanne. Probably could take this aura down this turn. Before I end the turn as well, although, just realized something, Leanne, she does get doubled by Ashera's snipe attack. Let me just... Okay, so I guess now's a good time to mention that the single-target magical... the single-target magical snipe has 1 to 7 range, 65 attack, 245 hit, so it's not going to miss you, and 28 attack speed is the key thing. Most people are safe, but the dragons tend to get doubled by it, which is why they really need to be standing on Wardwood for this. And Leanne, I'm actually kind of worried about Leanne, because it's 65 attack power, so it's dropped down to 40 with her resistance, and that one-shots her, and she gets doubled. So if I do what I'm about to do, I will actually need to rescue or use the ward staff. I don't think the ward staff's going to help either. I actually do think I need to rescue. Do have a few people who can rescue her though. This could end very, 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 very badly. Yeah, she's stuck there. I may have screwed this up horribly, but we'll see. I normally don't need to worry about my herons with the magical snipes because they're usually out of range. That would take it down. But yeah, I'm pretty sure Nasala's going to have to rescue her. And Ina needs to make sure that she stands on Wardwood this turn. And I don't think you're going to do anything, because... Well, Rex Caliber does a decent amount of damage, but is there anyone else who can do 19? Doesn't really seem like it. I think I actually am going to have to go with Ike here, which means I actually cannot end the chapter this turn. And there is a reason for that. I'll explain that once we've taken down the final aura. And that's it. All aura's gone. So now, Ashera, now that Ashera's auras are down, she can directly counterattack you with her judge attack when you attack. But it does weigh her down, so despite her 40 speed, she actually loses 8 speed from that. It's weird, I'm not really sure why. I've seen many people like fully max out Ashera and still manage to win, which is pretty amazing. So her speed actually gets lowered by 8, so it's in fact 32, which makes her not that hard to double. However, only Ike can land the final blow, as you'd probably expect. If anyone else lands the final blow, she restores all of her HP. While the game doesn't really tell you that, it's not too hard to infer that from just the way that this fight works. And just, you know, the fact that, obviously, the main character of the Tellia saga has to defeat the final boss. Makes perfect sense. But yeah, if you do it with anyone else, you do get a slight hint that that's what you should be doing. And yeah, Ashera's resistance is enormous, so magic users are not particularly useful from this point in the fight onwards. Now, like I said, Ina needs to get to Wardwood. And yeah, Ashera will counter you. Oh, and one other thing. What's also fitting for a goddess of pure order, none of Ashera's attacks can ever critical. So, yes, the RNG does not matter to her. I definitely have to rescue Leanne, though. And that does, in fact, mean that Nasala actually gets doubled, but If he goes all the way over there, I think he's out of range. Anyone else in need of healing or anything? Yeah, Sanaki doesn't even get doubled by the snipe attack, so she's ironically pretty safe at this point. No one else is really hurt, so I guess I can just move Soren up into support range of Ike. Why not? I think he actually needed White Pool to double this thing as well. Okay, now as long as I survive this turn, I've pretty much got this. Because once her auras are down, Ashera is pretty simple to defeat. And you're all going to go for Nasala and double him, most likely, but I don't think he'll die. Probably should have given him Savior, but anyway. Didn't expect I'd have to rescue Leanne. I'm pretty sure he's out of range. So I would appreciate a little bit of dodging here. I said I'd appreciate a bit of dodging. And now, one more spirit. Now I'm really hoping that he's out of range. Serenez Forest says 1 to 7. Going for Gareth, who is on Wardwood, so he should be safe. Yeah. His massive HP is actually pretty helpful. And note that Nasala's Provoke just saved Gareth's life there. So yeah, Provoke on one range characters. Very, very important in this chapter. Okay, so now that's all done, this is pretty much over, but we can also show one of the best conversations in the game. That's Soren, not Leron. Leron's over there. Don't want to... Gonna have to swing everyone around and have Ike attack from below. This is the sole reason I brought Sanaki here, by the way. I love his response, like, I can just imagine him just saying this so nonchalantly. Of course it is, my Empress. And that's all we get, but yeah, I wanted to show that. Don't do that, that's a terrible idea. Okay, so yeah, even though Ike has to be the one to land the final blow, other characters are still allowed to attack Ashera. So... Farm Girl from Crimea versus Goddess, let's do this. Again, what I love about this battle is that everyone gets to contribute. Ike just has to land the final blow, but everyone else can still fight the final boss and still damage her. It's, yeah, after so many boss fights in Fire Emblem that to me always came across as incredibly disappointing, this one finally nailed it. Oh yeah, and we no longer have to worry about the Aurora abilities. You know what? Let's just put you down there for now. I need to rescue him after this, so in fact, let's not do that. Actually, no. Who am I kidding? Let's do this. Aaron Endgame hype. He was amazing earlier on in one Endgame, and now he's contributing to the final chapter itself. Ashera's Judge Attack looks very similar to Sephiran's unique spell, which he for some reason forgot to bring to this chapter, I don't know why. Yeah, I'd like Alincia to contribute to this fight too. In fact, Alincia quadruples with the aid of that, doesn't she? And Ashera does quite a lot of damage in return to Nicaea, so let's maybe not do that. Oh, yeah, no real reason not to do that, because, yeah. Actually, we're getting dangerously close to 15 times 4 is, yeah, that would be 60. But, as much as Alincia is really amazing, I also really like Edward in this game. And also, Rolf could use a little bit of, okay, that's a terrible hit rate. I might as well do this first. And then Gareth will go where Rolf was standing. You probably know what my plan is. Oh, that's a cool dodge animation. Okay, now Alincia can't attack, and Edward can't attack either. Because if Edward attacked, he would actually win, and we're not allowed to do that. So yeah, obviously I'm going to stack all of my buffs on Ike and have Ike deal the final blow here. And might as well put Soren in support range. You know, it would be pretty fitting if Soren was actually able to... Soren can bring Ashera down into range for Ike to deal the final blow. Considering the conversation we saw, I think it's only fitting. But as I said earlier, once Ashera's auras are down, she's really not that threatening at all. You can very easily eat through her 120 HP. That's why I'm glad the game actually gave her the auras, because 120 HP, given how overpowered we are, is not a lot to eat through. Okay, yeah, I like to make sure, because Ike's hit rate's a little shaky, I like to make sure that one hit from Ike will do it. But what I will do, though, first, is I'm going to battle save and show what happens if you defeat her with someone other than Ike. And while we're here, I may as well show Ike's conversation with Leron, too. But first, here's what happens if you defeat Ashera with somebody other than Ike. As cool as Eddie the Onage is, even he cannot defeat a goddess. So we won, right? It's all over, isn't it? But the boss music is still going, which means it's not over yet. On easy mode, apparently she doesn't recover all her HP, but on every other difficulty she does. So, I would normally classify that as a jerk move to newcomers. However, that conversation very heavily hints that you have to have Ike finish her off, so I'm okay with it. This, I believe, is the last conversation that I need to do. Oh, that is a cool conversation. I'm glad I showed that. So, reloading battle save and doing this the real way this time. So, for everyone who was turned to stone, for all the lives that were taken across both these wars, it's finally time to end this. Ike, let's go. So, one final thing to say here, if Ike's hit does enough damage to finish Ashera off, and it's calculated to hit, we will get a cutscene before the battle happens. So, if I'm not crazily unlucky, because the only way we won't see the cutscene is if Ike rolls a double miss here, but in any other circumstance, we're going to see a cutscene here, and that means we've done it.
into this. Take all the power I have.
Thank you. I'll use it well.
Don't worry, the cutscene played, we've already won. This battle's outcome's a foregone conclusion.
What of you? Are you leaving?
I am. But I believe it's for the best. This world does not need gods. We have always failed you. We've made you weak. That's why we must go.
You don't have to leave. It's true. We don't have much use for gods. But well, you show us what we should aspire to. We need inspiration. You give us a reason to grow, to become more than we are. And if we don't have that, Yune, we're nothing more than statues.
Can you forgive me for the pain I've caused?
I don't know. But you have already forgiven us. How could we not? We are all family. We will try to understand one another, even when we disagree.
You're right. I will try one more time.
I suppose I should mention that Ike's dialogue with Yune there is a bit different in the Japanese version. In some ways I prefer the Japanese version, but I also like the statue's line from this one. And so Yune becomes a bird once again. And now that Ashera's power has faded over everyone, come on, please. Surely you've all learned by now. There we go. Those must have been the Goldoan elders that were mentioned in the extended script, actually. This long war is over. Tellius will finally enter an era of peace and hopefully will last this time. I'll see you next time for the epilogue.